Léimthart le Rory Radio Rira.
Radio Rira.
Díomh is mis Rory agus fáilte go Léimthart. An bodcréile seo dheoidh tú na PC éasfar an glóir Léimthart Radio Rira. Chumá le rudí spéisiúla nach bhuithí tú áit be eile. Éiste seachlum Léimthart Radio Rira agus cuine súil an bodcréile de agalah clí agus play.
Radio Rira.
With live music gone down the drain and me being awful at starting podcasts, especially when I have guests, which is most episodes, I thought we're missing out on a lot of live music from some great Irish acts. So I'm joined on the line. Hi, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Conor, host of the Sunday Soundtrack. Glad to be here.
Oh, straight in there with the plug.
You have to do it.
Straight in.
You have to do it. Can
you tell that you got two DCU media students talking to you right now? Absolutely glad that you're here because I know that you are very passionate about Irish music and what goes on in our little island, our little rock, our little country and what they're creating. And I know that you are missing out as much as all of us are, as probably more than average.
Oh,
than
even though
person.
I'm so old, I am devastated I wasn't at Longitude this year just to see all the homegrown talent.
Sorry, you were 20.
Yeah, and the average age at Longitude is 15.
Very fair. Yeah, I think that's one thing, because in case you're wondering why you recognise that lovely, sultry voice, it's because Conor is no stranger to the Léimthart podcast. He was on almost exactly a year ago for our Longitude 2019 review. He was there as a spectator, I was there as a worker, but we were able to team it all up together, and Dylan was in the room as well, to be able to review it all. And now we're back talking about our favourite thing again, which is Irish music.
We can see how our tastes have changed. So go back and listen to that episode after listening to this one.
Hey, if you can figure out what we're referring to there, I don't know, I'll give you money or I'll send you a chocolate bar or a vegan chocolate bar if you're a vegan, because we're so super woke on this podcast. Obviously, we're missing all this Irish music and all the live events, and even just recently we had Songs from an Empty Room, which is absolutely lovely. And we love to see people coming together, and we thought we should celebrate the songs that we would be seeing at a festival and create our dream Irish music festival. As kind of arty-farty as that sounds, I thought this would be the perfect way to do it, and I couldn't do it on my own. You had to have a Zoom call with two of your favourite DCU media students, and also, should I mention, your two favourite Smedia losing, hybrid winning DJs.
Even though neither of us won a radio award.
Yeah, but we're just going to brush over that and just celebrate the fact that we both won DCU Student Media Awards, which are hybrids, despite losing out on the Smedias.
We're media gurus. We're jack of all trades.
We are jack of all trades. And you are celebrating music this summer in your own special way, which I know you've been working on for a long time. And it's a very new project now, and I absolutely loved it, that as soon as I listened to it, I knew I had to get you on for some sort of a collab episode and talk about all this. What is the Sunday Soundtrack?
So the Sunday Soundtrack is something that I've had in the works probably since the start of May, which only recently kind of came to fruition. So it actually all started I was getting real restless from everything being closed due to unprecedented circumstances, and I wanted some kind of creative outlet, and it started as practice for my artwork, like online illustrations. And then when I was working on it, I was like, that looks like it could be podcast art. How about I actually make a podcast? And I figured I wanted to talk about music, and I kind of wanted to do something different than what I normally talk about. So I was like, I wanted to branch out just from hip-hop. So I started the first episode doing chart music because I'd been into that, and I did mostly look at hip-hop music there because it's what I know about, so I find it easy to talk about. But it's something for me that I normally would purely be discussing hip-hop on my other shows, so it's something for me to just have a creative outlet to branch out into other stuff. And as well, it's not just a podcast, because it's an opportunity for me to practice my editing. If you check the Instagram page, the Sunday Soundtrack, you'll see there's no consistent branding. It's just me trying whatever I can with Adobe After Effects. Yeah,
well, I absolutely loved it when I listened to it, and I had a lot of thoughts, which I sent straight over.
Which were very appreciated.
And I don't know why, I just welled up a little bit because I haven't heard. It's one thing I really noticed in lockdown is I miss people's voices. That was something that I'd really been deprived of because through social media, most of us see each other's faces all the time, but I realized I hadn't heard people's voices. So I started to well up within about 2 minutes of listening to the first episode because I hadn't heard someone's voice in a long time. And I liked the structure of it. So that's kind of why I'm piggybacking your structure. And also this is a way of introducing your episodes and your podcast to the Lame Heart audience, all three of us that are on this on this bandwagon that is called Lame Heart. So we're going to be talking about what songs we'd love to hear from Irish artists at a festival supporting the homegrown talent. Kick us off with one of our favourite duos, Connor.
So, okay, my favourite Irish artists would have to be Tebby Rex. They're just hands down, they make phenomenal music, like absolutely amazing. I've had the absolute privilege of meeting both of the lads on different occasions. I met Max at Longitude last year with Dylan Mangan because Dylan would be good friends with him, so he was able to kind of introduce us and all. And then I met Matt at Indigo Sessions, one of the gigs in Workman's, and I've been talking to him about a different project which obviously wasn't able to happen due to the stuff going on in the world, but hopefully we'll see about next year. But they're absolutely lovely blokes, and
they're so nice.
They're
Aren't
amazing.
They just so nice?
Like, they're very, very lovely, down-to-earth lads from the brief conversations I've had with them, and their music just speaks for itself, really, with just the success they've had off their debut album, which isn't even a year old yet.
And I very much remember when you went to Indigo Sessions, when you came back the next day, I remember your face was glowing talking about it. You had, like, you looked like you'd been
I was
shot.
starstruck.
You looked like you'd been starstruck and you'd been shot. Like, you had such a reaction to it that was almost like a 5-year-old hearing Firework by Katy Perry for the first time. And it seemed great.
Because I'd been talking to Matt on Instagram for a little while with different bits, and then like actually meeting them in person, and because I was front row for their entire like set as well, and it was just like such good energy and such wholesome vibes in that place.
Yeah. And they're so good live.
Oh, they're fantastic live, and I don't think they played the song I'm about to talk about, but Icarus is one that I would love to see live.
Definitely.
It is such an easy listen. Like, you're eased into the song because they start off with those upbeat piano chords, but then they slowly introduce all the other elements before like crescendoing into just a phenomenal beat. It's fantastic. It's got really like major laid back vibes, which is why I think it'd be perfect for like a festival and why it has that summer attitude. And I think it worked perfectly with if you've seen the music video, it's just completely shot of them at the beach, and it's a very kind of Irish look at it with them slathering themselves in sun cream before heading out. Not to mention that the absolute drip with the Naruto jacket that I saw Max had that I really want. But yeah, like, it had, I think, the right level of intensity to it as well, because I think with the verses, their style of rapping, it's never like a really soft or like that kind of more modern mumbly sound. There always is a clear enunciation. It's like they kind of nearly pound at the lyrics, but they weren't overbearing on the beat, which was fantastic. Something I really liked.
Yeah, I know you may not have seen it yet, but I'm 99% sure that I saw them play it the first time I saw them, which was 2017 in the Grand Social. And if I know that you probably got the vibe from meeting them, but anyone who's met them, of course, in the very most typical Tebby Rex fashion, the first time I ever saw them live was by accident. Yeah. I just happened to be in the Grand Social. They happened to be in the Grand Social. They happened to be up on stage, and I had a great time. And I'm fairly sure that in hindsight, Icarus was the song that they were playing, and that I absolutely loved. It's just so much fun. Yeah. Because it's honestly, you could jump around to it, but you actually wouldn't feel some song was attacking you if you kind of just sat back as well. Because some songs are just made to get up and dance, and you cannot sit still.
Exactly. It's like they weren't nearly looking for this kind of real serious thought-provoking message in a song. They were like, we want to just make good tunes for people to have fun with. Yeah. And I think they smashed that. And it was actually, because I was trying to look, because to me lyrics personally are the most important part of a song, because that's how you get a story, that's how you can get most of your interpretations. But I couldn't find the lyrics anywhere online, and normally when I'm writing about lyrics, I like to have them in front of me so I can
Yeah.
get like proper soaked into my brain. So it was actually difficult for this one, but I tended to more focus then on the title of the song and what I took from that. So Icarus, the Greek myth of the boy who escaped prison by making wings out of, this is the like Cliff Notes version of the story, but wings out of wax and feathers, flew too close to the sun, the wings melted, and Icarus drowned. And it's kind of a metaphor for don't get too arrogant, otherwise like that'll be your downfall. It'll cause you to like fail basically. And I thought that TBRX took an interesting take on that, where they weren't doing a whole song about, oh, we've messed up but we're like on our way back up kind of thing. It wasn't a depressing song. They took it as like, oh, it even says in the description for the music video, live fast, die young. So they're just like, yeah, no, we're gonna do this, we're gonna flex, and we're gonna, it doesn't matter what happens, we're just gonna have fun while we do it, because it's like, let's just live our lives the way we want to. And that was how I interpreted the song, and I really liked that. But obviously, as you know the lads well enough, they might listen to this, and TBRX, if you are listening to this and anything I say,
of all the people, I think they're probably the most likely to listen to the episode. So hi Matt, hi Daffy, how are you doing?
How are you? Love your music. And I'd just like to say apologies if I'm butchering the themes and messages in your song, and please DM me and let me know if I have, because this was how I took it. And but it could be dead wrong.
No, but that's great. I'm actually learning, because the thing is, we never did anything Greek in school.
Yeah, Greek is like my entire vibe, all that mythology stuff. So I love it, and that's one of the reasons I love their album as well, because it was littered with references for me to have a look at as well. But
yeah,
the whole song, like, I've kind of nearly, sorry, lost my place there. Oh, something I wanted to mention was when I said that about messing up the things. I clarify this in all my episodes of Sunday Soundtrack, but because I try and get quite in depth with the songs, but I am trained in music. I've no like talent at music, so everything I say is just my opinion. Don't take it as gospel. Please listen to the songs yourself and form your own opinions, because these songs deserve to be listened to.
Unless your opinion is that Icarus is not a banger.
Oh yeah, no, if your opinion is that the song isn't incredible, then you don't get the rights to an opinion anymore.
Yeah, you can just log off now and switch to another Spotify song.
The only thing that confused me about the song though was the chorus repeats the line, I don't think they care about the two of us, a lot.
Yeah, I'm still very confused.
I'm just like, who is they?
I don't know, maybe it's the old that the young are going to eat.
But that wasn't on the album, so that's why that confused me, because I was like, oh, maybe it's like they're going to bring in the thing about like a failed relationship, and that's the whole Icarus thing, but then they didn't. So that confused me.
I don't know, but guys, when you're DMing Conor to let him know that all his opinions are wrong, just let him know what that means as well, just while you're at
it. If you just send me a text or tweet or something like.
Yeah, public shaming. That's what Conor O'Neill needs in this day and age.
My ego needs some public shaming.
Yeah, so I'd love to see. I don't know what you would say, but I definitely took about an hour or two last week, because I had the time, to make a big ass festival poster, and I basically put every single artist that I've ever liked even one song off of. TBRX slotted in on Friday for me.
Yeah, they would be like Friday, like main stage kind of.
Yeah, like start you off on an absolute sucker punch and get you ready for for the rest of the weekend.
Exactly. Although I don't think, to me, Icarus, like if I was placing it in a festival, it would definitely be like first night main stage for like the headliner to be like kind of get you buzzed, because it'd be like right as like the sun's starting to like set, it's a little bit dark but it's still bright out, everyone's kind of buzzed for the main act.
Yeah,
they come out, but I don't think this would be the first song.
No.
This would be, they'd play this, then you'd get like the kind of softer song, which we might come to a little bit later.
Yeah,
to then go back into bangers, but this would probably be maybe like third song, I think.
Something like that. Yeah. And I think
like you have to ease into, like you have to get the hard hits first, get everyone buzzed. Now once they're in a good vibe, you play this to maintain the vibe.
Yeah, definitely. I know that when, like, just as much as when you put out your first episode of Sunday Soundtrack, that I knew somehow instinctively that you were going to mention Sing Street, I knew in my heart that when we started forming our list for songs, I knew that you knew that I was going to put this next song on, which is Love Tonight by Soleil, because I don't think
big banger.
I don't think you'll find a bigger Love Tonight advocate and pusher and propagandist
Oh,
than
I
me.
know. I saw the tweets and the Instagram stories.
All the
and
tweets
everything.
and the Instagram stories, I used it as a way of like getting people to like giving people votes in the SU elections. They only got that if they got voted for Love Tonight to be Irish Song of the Year, which she lost to Westlife, which I have mixed feelings
I don't
about.
understand, but
I do understand, I just disagree. I understand because they're one of the biggest acts and the song was grand. Like it wasn't bad, but I thought in terms of impact and progression of career, I felt Love Tonight had to take the crown because we also haven't had a big, well, like a song that has a big impact by an Irish woman in a very long time, and also just like pure pop. I
oh, like it was Song of the Summer 2019.
definitely, and it was such a long way. I waited nearly a year for that song to come out. I had a little voice note of about 80% of the song, just like a really shitty audio quality, resting on my phone for nearly a year, just thinking, please release this song, please release the song. And she finally did, and it became one of the songs of the summer. Like, even as far forward as this summer, a few weeks ago, I got woken up by Spin 1038 playing Love Tonight, and it just got me in the mood for the day. And the amount of people that when I play it, like at a pranks or something like that, I will always request it. There's always someone in the room who turns around and goes, "That's that song from Love Island," because it got a sync for the song from Va Va Voom, which was on the ads every single night of like the biggest show on telly for 8 weeks of the summer, which is invaluable in terms of exposure. So that's why so many people know it, and it's gotten so much success. And it was actually the top song of the year 2019 by an Irish female, which was just...
Yeah, she did very well for herself with that one. I think it was just that kind of thing where it was such a, I think nearly, not surprise, I'm trying to think of the best word, but like it kind of blew up from nowhere near, like instantly blew up. That's the kind of song where people will remember it and will still bang it out at parties for the next good few years. Like,
yeah, definitely. The only thing I would criticize though, and it's not even criticizing her, is that it was the top song by an Irish female last year, and in terms of radio airplay, it got around 8,000 plays across the nation, across all the main FM stations, in the year. And the thing is, the number 5 song by an Irish male act was by Wild Youth, number 5, and they got 20,000 plays.
yeah, there's a lot of gap between
There's a big
male
gap,
female
and
artists that's been come out in recent weeks.
that report was absolutely shocking. We're going to try and not be too negative, but to be honest, I felt like Soleil deserved even... She got so much exposure out of it, but I felt like even so much more. And that synced it so well that now this summer that Va Va Voom have come back to her again, and they have her song Troublemaker as their backing song, and she got that sync
amazing.
again. So it's just great to see. We love you, Soleil. Well done with what you've done with Diffusion Lab. And do you want to end the episode there, Connor?
We'll just end it there. Leave it on the high.
Just leave it on that high of Love Tonight. No, obviously we're going to go back. What song have you got for us?
The song. So someone who I was first introduced to at Longitude last year, someone who I'd never heard of before, never listened to a single one of their songs, but now like they're a constant on my playlist just because I think not just for the quality of their music, but their stage presence, everything about them. JLOL, what a fantastic artist. And after he supported DCU with the broadcast and different bits, like he would even reply to my story and stuff, and like I just DM'd
He's
him
very
like
good
once
for
or twice.
that.
Yeah, he was very, very lovely bloke. Like he didn't have to do that, but he still did. He took the time to message me, and I was like, cheers, fella. Lovely bloke. Go stream all his music because it's phenomenal. But Oh Lord was to me a very like summer style because I think just for festival wise, I don't think he played this at Longitude, but I'm thinking of like Sunday vibes with this one, like the final day when it's less, you're not getting your intense rap here, you're getting stuff people can vibe to because everyone's wrecked from the previous few days. And actually when I say like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to me I'm basing this off Longitude just because that's normally like that kind of setup. Because I think it's less so with the lyrics more so with the kind of beat and the flow for the summer vibe that I get from it, because it's a very smooth beat that gives me, it's not quite jazz but it's not quite pop, it's somewhere in the middle, with the
Definitely.
sound, and I just messed that up completely. But like, there's that little like chord that they continue throughout the song that I really like. But the flow sticks out, especially in JL's verse, because
Yeah,
every word he says it, and it's nearly like there's a beat between every word because he enunciates everything like so clearly, and like every word gets its own time. But there's no like staggering or a gap between anything. It still flows seamlessly from one word to the next,
definitely.
and it's just, I don't know how he does that. Because like
I don't know. He's just really, really good. And I'm gonna act like I knew him for so long before you. I saw him 2 days before Longitude. That's when I first heard him. He was playing the Wood Key. He was playing the Wood Key summer sessions in the amphitheater, and I was going there to see Erica Cody, and he was also playing. And Oh Lord was my favorite song of his set, and it still is my
oh,
favorite
it is so
song
good.
of his. I thought when I was making my notes, I actually when I listened to it even more so again, I'd be interested to hear what you think on this. I think a Lily Allen feature would work well on that song.
I don't know Lily Allen well enough to kind of say that, but
I feel like it sounds kind of like something that she would do, and I feel like her on maybe verse two would
yeah,
sound pretty good, and that her voice would
or
complement it.
something where you nearly do the kind of back and forth like a joint chorus type thing, then she does a bridge afterwards,
Yeah,
like that kind of feature style. Um,
yeah.
because yeah, it's the kind of thing where if I get what you're saying, it's like she'd just really like complement the track rather than it being like yeah,
I think she would complement it really well,
that's fair.
and that she would, yeah, and that her and JLOL would actually would complement each other despite coming from two different genres.
It was actually something to me is I don't know if you'll agree with me, but like when I think of summer music, there can't really be like heavy lyricism. Like, but
Yeah.
something that I noticed about this, he actually does like talk about a fair bit of stuff in this song. It's stuff to do with like kind of nearly like flexing a little bit on people, but at the same time like talking about like competition of rap and like kind of coming up now and like look at how I'm doing, things are great. But just
Yeah.
one bar stuck out to me in particular, and it was got the X Factor, tell Simon that my time is now, and tell those other boys make them 9-9 me now. Damn it, I'm even rhyming when I'm signing out. So it's like real
Oh,
clever because that was like a little like as if, oh, I've just noticed that I accidentally rhymed here, and I was like, that's clever. I enjoyed that.
that's really, really good. And JLOL has been doing a lot of cool things. He's just like launched his own independent record label, so he has an album coming. And then lots of people heard his other, probably his biggest song. I was about to say Oh Lord was his biggest one, but it's definitely my favorite. His big song Ozone, because it got added to the FIFA 20 soundtrack,
Yeah,
which is just huge. And the thing is, I knew it was big, but I actually didn't realize just how big a deal that getting a FIFA sync is until because I don't play FIFA. I don't have
neither
a
do I.
PlayStation or anything. But I realized how big it was because on the FIFA 19 soundtrack, there's a song by a Swedish pop star called Duve Styrka, and it's called Sway, which I love. I didn't realize it was on the soundtrack, but it's in a lot of my playlists. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. And I would like at pranks or like on a Zoom call or something, I just have it playing in the background. And so many people, especially like guys that I know who would never listen to her, they just, without even thinking about it, started singing along to the song. And I was thinking, I've never met anyone who knew who she was before. How do you know all the lyrics to this song? That's the impact that a FIFA sync can have. And that showed to me how big a deal it is that Ozone was on that soundtrack.
Yeah. Oh, that'll definitely like have a bit of a boost for his plays because like I think once you hear one of his songs, you'd need to hear more.
Yeah, definitely. And as soon as I saw him that time, when I first saw him, I was like, I can't wait for the next one. I can't wait for when it's a headliner and I'm more acquainted with your stuff and we can jump around and have a great time. I just think it'd be class. Next person is a song. This is definitely up there with Love Tonight. I don't know what my absolute favorite song from kind of like the current Irish music scene is, but obviously Love Tonight is up there. But this is also very high up there. It's called Last Night and it's by Days. That's spelled DAY_S, and it was his debut single from 2017. So we're going back a bit, but this is the song that I actually credit with kind of getting me like to grips and getting to know other people in the streets. To say I would never have listened to Soleil ever. I would never have listened to Jafaris ever. I probably would have listened to Eric Cody, or maybe been interested in seeing like JLOL or lots and lots of people that are in the scene right now, if it had not been for this song. Because it was through finding this song and seeing that he was working with Diffusion Lab that then I started looking at who their roster was, and then they all talked about other people in their interviews, and then that branched out. I never would have heard of Mango and Matman. I never would have heard of so many people if it was not for this song.
Impact.
That
is major impact.
It was such a catalyst for me personally. And on top of that, it's an absolute banger. It's exactly what I love to hear. It's just pure, unadulterated pop, which is what I love to listen to. And it's also because it's not what I expected, because I looked at his Facebook page before I'd listened to the track, and I just from the photos and stuff like that, the vibe I got was that this was going to be a whole acoustic guitar and singing like Let Her Go by Passenger, here's my cover, blah 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 blah. So when those synths on the drops hit me, I remember so distinctively the first time I listened to it, I out loud yelped on the drop because I loved it so much. The only thing I'd say is that it was released in October 2017, so it became like one of my defining songs of winter 2017. But I feel like if it was released maybe in April or March or something, it would have had a big like summer vibe and kind of had a big impact during the summer, and it could have become more of a summer song, whereas I associate it as like a winter song because of when it was released. I don't know, what are your thoughts?
I'm just wondering, because I thought that was interesting when you said the winter song, because I was going to ask, does that affect like where you'd put it on a festival? Like if it was a summer song, would that change where you'd put it on a lineup? Like, do you have two different answers there for that now?
I don't know if it'd change in terms of a festival. I'd probably put him kind of Saturday afternoon, to be honest. I don't think it's, I think it's like when you're in the groove of things and you're kind of you might be a little bit tired, or you've kind of, on Friday night you have your plans. You're like, I'm going to see all these people. I'm going to see Tellurix. I'm going to this. And then Saturday you're like, cool, I've got Soleil later. Can't wait for that. But now I have Saturday afternoon. I think I might go see Days. And
go to the Heineken stage, see a couple new acts.
Go to the Heineken stage, see a couple new acts. Because he still has lots more to come. He's released 4 singles, which was like Elbows on top, as well as last night. Elbows, Honest, and Fucking With My Friends, which is his most recent one, which is less unadulterated pop, but it's really, really good as well. So I really, really loved Last Night, and I feel like he's a bit overlooked in terms of the industry, just because it's been a few years since Last Night hit, and maybe that's like kind of industry or in terms of scheduling releases and stuff like that. But I definitely think he has a lot more to give, and that there are some absolute bangers on the way.
That's fair, because yeah, I'd never heard of him till you kind of brought him up, and then seeing as how that's how you got your introduction to all the like big artists that like I've come to like know and love through different sources. That's like, that's obviously like that he's made an impact on the scene. Then if it can have that effect on you, because like now you're one of the biggest like advocates for Irish music that I know.
Yeah, because like it really was what introduced me. But that's also like that's completely mutually exclusive also to the fact that it's just a fucking banger. And I just love it, because I've had I always have my like, kind of in the same way that a radio playlist works, I kind of have my like a list of songs which I just have, call it like my heavy rotation playlist. Last Night has not left that playlist since I made it in like mid 2017. So once I heard the song towards the end of 2017, it went in, and every few days I go in and I review it, I refresh, I take away the songs I'm not playing, I add in the new ones I love, and Last Night has not left it.
I feel like that's nearly all I ever really need to say in like reviews and stuff. You can talk as much as you want about lyrics and beat and stuff, but if you just like, if you say this is a banger or it's always on my playlist, I feel like that conveys so much about like the replay value and like how good the song is or whatever. Like just like, because it's like, it's something you don't even need to explain then.
Yeah. So I know like it definitely went kind of viral when it came out. And I know that since then, probably about, I'm not even going to put numbers on it, but a lot of those streams are from me. So I'll be claiming my top fan badge on Facebook fairly soon. So yeah, I'd place him on the Saturday afternoon when you're vibing and you want something to like spark that excitement in you for Saturday night.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think my next song is another Saturday
Yeah.
artist. Probably this would be the act right before the headliner.
Yeah.
It's Jafaris, Found My Feet specifically, the song. And to me, this would be the song he ends his set on to get people in a buzz for the headliner.
Yeah.
Cause this song, like, to me, Jafaris, I won't lie, I like him, but I find his music personally to be hit and miss a little bit. Like, there's some songs where it's like, I think they're good, like, for example, Silver Bullet and Shanduka. I like them, but it's like I'm not always in a mood
Yeah,
for those
I
songs.
know where you're going. I'm kind of the same with that.
Yeah, but Found My Feet is something that I'll never skip.
Found My Feet
when it comes
and
on.
Also, I'm trying to look. Ghost is another one that I'll never skip. But
Ghost, yeah.
But we're
just
not...
for reference, Rory has the vinyl in front of him.
The vinyl in my hand that I got when it came out, and it's a brilliant album. It is a very good album. I will agree
100%.
with you on some of the things that you were saying in terms of hit and miss, but I definitely think the like really good songs definitely outweigh the lesser good ones, if that's a good way of putting it.
There was just like so much to it. Like, for example, it had such a like dirty beat nearly. It was so like dark and gritty compared to like a lot of like the Irish sound I'd be used to, which is like a lot more of a like upbeat kind of like vibey music. But this was like, nah, I'm about to show you something here with this song. Like, he had that like intense beat that was like, I'm about to do a madness on this song, and he fully delivered. Like, but I think the song does lighten up as it progresses, and it gets into a more like real party club vibe, which is why I think it's perfect to like end a set on for a festival, because you could not be buzzing, you could not be jumping around for this song. Like, I think the title kind of suggests as well that he's like coming into his own as an artist, and I think that's that kind of celebration vibe, and he's got the confidence in the lyrics which validate that, as he's like kind of flexing on everyone with like, why are you so keen on trying me? You're walking on flying. It's like, don't even try and step to me. I am leagues.
Yeah, and the cover art for the single is really good as well. They have chains. Like it's a black background, and he's in this like bright blue suit, but his top half is like levitating in the air, and he's like reaching down because his feet are on the ground. Yeah. So it's kind of like, I found my feet. He's trying to stop from flying.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just trying to like kind of like cement himself, like nearly as like, I know what I'm at now. Because like his flow as well, everything about this song, it was just like he wanted to bring his A game and make something that's just like to kind of walk the walk as well as like talk the talk. He really had to like pull out all the stops, and he did, because like it wasn't an insane fast flow, but it was like, it nearly felt like there wasn't like a pre-done beat. It felt like the beat was nearly like being made as he rapped to like match his energy and to match what he was saying, the way it like so perfectly works with like when he's talking about more upbeat happy stuff, you get that sound, and then like it changes and drops and fluctuates. But the song, I could like fanboy over this song all day.
No, it's brilliant. And from seeing him, I would definitely say that this, and then I'd say Temple, which is another stellar album track. I'd say those are the two like most fun songs. And the Tens, at least from his headliner, and I think a festival performance I saw at Beat Yard, Temple is his second song in the set, and Found My Feet is the second last song in the set. So he's always on a high in some way.
Yeah, exactly.
On to the next one. This one is nostalgic, it's danceable, it's relaxing. It's Erica Cody, Where You Really From? And
yup, Erica Cody.
Fucking yup, Erica Cody, to be honest. Like, should we just move on to the next song after that?
That's all you need to say. Yup, Erica Cody.
That's all you need to say. I want, like, she has a fair few good songs, and she has more good ones in the locker that she's only performed live so far that haven't been released. But Where You Really From, it's like pure 90s. It's fun, but there's actually such a message to it. And actually, like, I tried to consider myself a woke person or like progressive and all that, but once I listened to this song, I felt like I knew nothing, and that it taught me so much. Even though I had never consciously asked a person of color where are you really from, it made sure that I was super aware of never asking it, and to make sure that I never ever did it. And it's just so 90s as a song. I don't know where to start with this one.
Oh, that's a solid vibe, especially for summer music. That's that. I don't know what it is, but like you want nearly that feeling of nostalgia for it to be a track. So when you get that like old school vibe that like you wouldn't get in a lot of songs now, and I think especially with Erica Cody, it's kind of that added benefit that like you can gain something from her music, because especially when you're saying about like the message in the song, like she is such a big advocate for like race and like the Black Lives Matter movement and all. So I think that's fantastic. And how was it actually? Because I remember you like interviewed her one time in DCU, didn't you?
Yeah, so she is a previous guest of the Lame Heart podcast. Had a lovely time. She's a gas woman altogether. And we talked about Where You're Really From, and now especially in the last, I don't know if, is it a few weeks or a few months? But she has become, in the last few months, like such an important figure within Ireland in terms of furthering the Black Lives Matter cause. And the thing is, she was speaking out on it with this song, not only with the whole thing of Where You're Really From, and she had this story that she tells in a funny way, but it's kind of serious. That she used to work in a clothes shop, and she had there was this woman who came in and kind of went up to her and was like, "Oh, hey, you're gorgeous," and Erica thought that's like a really nice thing to say, so she said, "Oh, like thanks and all that," and the woman going, "Oh, so where are you from?" And when Erica told the story, she said, "In my head I was going, here we go," because she was like, "Oh, I'm from Dublin." It's like, "I know, but like where are you from?" It's like, "I'm from Dublin." And then the woman went off, came back, and she's like, "Anna, where are you really from?" And Erica just said, "I was born around the corner in the rotunda. Have a lovely day," and then just like walked off. Which is a funny story when she tells it to you, but when you think about it, it's really insensitive, it's really rude, and it's just such a question that people ask without even thinking about.
They have to wonder why. Like, do they ask it like, why does it affect them in any way whatsoever?
Yeah.
One, where someone's born. Two, why is it like so impossible in their head that anyone who isn't white can't be born in this country? Like,
Yeah, because I mean, it is definitely such a natural question to ask in this country. Where are you from? Like, it's the first thing you ask someone. Because we're such a small country, there is a good probability that we know someone, and you do go to every extreme length to try and find some sort of a link with this person you just met.
but I think it's normally a case of what county are you from, rather than try and be like, oh, you don't seem Irish.
Yeah, and one line that she had in it, which I had an absolute epiphany when I listened to it the first time, is in the second verse where she says, "No, you can't touch my hair." And I had an epiphany on it because it had been her Instagram bio for nearly a year, but she never said it was a lyric or anything. And then I think a week or two before the song came out, she changed it or whatever, saying, "I've new music coming out." But as soon as I listened to the song, just like when I listened to The Drop of Last Night by Days, I nearly yelped when that line came out, because I was like, that was there for so long. And I actually, like, I related to it a little bit. I don't want to seem like a precious little white guy complaining about this, because I'm definitely nowhere near it, but I used to have very big hair, because it has no weight whatsoever, and people would just like stick their hand in, and I'm thinking, if I had to put up with that my whole life, every day, and it'd be much more, I have air quotes up here, but like seem like more of an attraction because, I don't know, you're black
It's just
or it's
invasive.
curly. It's just so invasive, and having to deal with that all the time would have been awful. So that's such an important line. And thing is, with how serious the Black Lives Matter movement is, now looking at this song in hindsight, it came out a little over a year ago, it seems so casual as a song in hindsight. Whereas when it came out, I thought, this is a big lesson, this is something loads of people can learn from, and it still is. But compared to the stuff that's happening now, and like the statements that she is making to further the cause, stand up for people, this seems like so casual now, and nearly feels like she was still like suffocated saying this because it seems like such a tiny thing to say compared to this now. Not saying it's not an important song, because it still is. And I would have also, like, if I could have picked two Erica Cody songs for this, I would have picked Good Intentions, because that's probably a more straight up summer banger. But I still feel like this can be a real summer banger too, and it also has such an important message in it, especially this year. So I would have loved to have heard that at festivals this year.
This is one that definitely, like, in the middle of the set, when the artist takes time to talk to the audience and stuff, like, she'd bring up the whole thing and then play this song. Like, to me, that sounds like that kind of vibe. Probably Friday late afternoon. Yeah.
And I've seen her perform it, I don't know, maybe 3 times at this stage, and it never gets old. It's always good, and she always gives such a good speech. So that's definitely one that really belongs on the list.
So to reiterate, yup, Erica Cody.
So to reiterate, in case you skipped the last X amount of minutes, yup, Erica Cody, just again. And slight plug, because I haven't used any of this Black Lives Matter stuff to plug my own podcast. If you want to listen to Erica Cody on the Lame Heart podcast, you can just scroll back a few episodes and find her there. Stream her music, buy it, do all that good buzz, because yup, Erica Cody.
Yup, Erica Cody. And yup, Tebby Rex, because they are my final song.
And yup,
as well,
Tebby Rex, and this song is a special one. Very special.
Two entries from Tebby Rex. Can you tell I'm a fan? So yeah, I actually tried to make it 4 different artists, but it was like I couldn't not pick this song, because it was like one of the first ones that came into my head. Never Got Off the Bus. This was a single they released. When did they release? They released around a year ago.
Yeah, kind of end of July last year.
This was, I think, the first Tebby Rex song I ever listened to. Because, or actually no, it wouldn't have been the first Tebby Rex song I listened to, because I listened to him a bit before I met Max at Longitude. So I'm trying to think when, but it was before I'd really started to get into them, and this was one of the songs that did really get me into them.
Yeah.
It was a single from their album, The Young Will Eat the Old.
Careful.
You can't swap that around. And like, my first impression of it though is that, like, it's kind of depressing, but then the beat kicks in, and it's like, it's not upbeat, but there's an energy to it that's like, it's still kind of sad, but there's the hope in there that, like, really brings it up, without making it an upbeat song. But, like, that's kind of why I love it, because
it has that ambiguity.
Yeah, and it gives me Juice WRLD vibes as well, a little bit. Which,
just a little plug, Conor has done Juice WRLD's posthumous album on his podcast, The Sunday Soundtrack, which is out now on all major streaming services.
Yeah, I'd definitely recommend that episode over the first episode I did, just because Juice WRLD's album. One of my favourite artists, so that album hit me like a brick wall when I listened to it, so I had a lot to say about it. And so for me, if I'm comparing this song to a Juice WRLD song, that's my way of giving it a major
it's
compliment.
Just the moment it dropped, like the ambiguity was like something that really hit me, and the only, you put it very well, but the only comparison I could make at the time is that it hit me the same way that Green Light by Lorde hit me, in that
that's
depending on the day, you want to listen to it in a car while you're going fast, but not unsafely fast. Don't speed, kids. But one day you could listen to it and you could be crying your eyes out, but then you could listen to it half an hour later and be jumping up and down. I don't know how you jump up and down in a car, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but it's the kind of thing where, like, depending on if you're in a, like, bad mood or you're having a bad day or whatever, you can listen to this song and it'll either you use it as, like, sad music because you want to feel sad, or it's like it brings you out of that funk and gives you that kind of motivation or whatever. But in my second attempt to completely butcher the meaning behind a Tebby Rex song, to me, the way I saw it was the song seems to be about decisions or lack of decisions, and the kind of impact that has, as well as growth which comes from it. With the title being like Never Got Off the Bus, could be like they never took that leap, they never made that decision or something, like they just made nothing change. There's something I was going to say that I completely jumped out of my head, but, like, yeah, it's that kind of thing where that's where the depressing vibes came from, because it seemed like it was nearly they felt like they'd missed out on opportunity, or like stuff was passing by, but then it came back round to be the whole thing of like, no, all right, time to, get back on the grind. Let's like get better. Because as I said, I think I wrote down somewhere that in the very end, the outro, Matt has the lines like, lie on my side, ignore pain in my eyes. So that's the kind of thing, like things still aren't going great. But then the line like, going back to work, I'm done mitching, is like, here's where we see now it's going from, oh God, everything's awful, to like, okay, we're here now and we're going to start to work our way slowly back up.
Yeah.
Because like, I think you'll probably have something to say about Local Boy's verse on it, which is really sad.
I was gonna, it's in my notes as well. Like, before we say anything else, shout out to Local Boy, also one of the nicest people in the industry.
Absolute gent.
He will have you in stitches laughing, and is just so warm and friendly as a person. Like, just have to put it out there before we even discuss his verse.
Yeah, I met him briefly at a DCU event, Wavelength, back some point, I think like late 2019. He was a lovely man.
Yeah, no, like honestly, his EP is out now as well. It's called Local Boy Ruins Everything. If you can buy it, get it on Bandcamp. But if not, you can play it on digital services. So that's another quick ad. I think this whole episode is just like a big ad for us.
Good, because the Irish music scene deserves all these plugs.
It definitely deserves all these plugs. So if any of you want to hit us up with guest lists for when the gigs come back, we are there and ready to take it. But shout out Local Boy.
His line in the verse, like, empty look on my face, I feel nothing at all, and like food all tastes grey or whatever.
Yeah.
That's when it like really hit like the sad part of it. But then that theme about like decisions and growth came from the line, who I was, who I am, and which one of the two is me.
Yeah. Because
that's that kind of thing of like figuring out what kind of like path you want to take nearly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like it's very deep as a song, but it sounds, if you don't focus on the lyrics, that's something, again, Sunday festival vibes.
Yeah, it's still, even if you had no focus on the lyrics whatsoever, it's still just lovely to listen to as well. And I feel like now that the album has had a good chance to, like, I don't know, be digested by people. Marinate. There we go. Saving me as always with the words. I feel like this and Lotus Eaters became like the two defining songs of the album.
Which surprised me, because Lotus Eaters, I'll be honest, had to grow on me.
Me too. Like, I wasn't mad about it at the start, and even early on, like even about a month later, when they were doing promo and all that, on top of doing I Never Got Off the Bus because it was the single, when they were doing when they'd perform an album track as well, they were doing Lotus Eaters, which I was a little bit surprised by. But in terms of the reaction that I've seen on Twitter, and they've both very different vibes as well. Like, I Never Got Off the Bus is very high energy, whereas Lotus Eaters is very low energy, and that is what they talk about. It's nearly
lo-fi.
It's very lo-fi, and it is what they talk about in the song as well.
Yeah.
But
because the whole thing of like it needed to be that lo-fi kind of like nearly like in a daze kind of feeling, because going back to Greek mythology, the Lotus Eaters were a group of people where you'd eat the lotus plant and you wouldn't notice, but like time would pass by and you'd have no like perception of that. It's like it would just like cloud your mind completely, essentially. And I think that was the vibe they went for in the song, which I think is like really cool how they incorporated those kind of myths into how they structured their music.
And that's something that they said about the song as well, that it's kind of about not having anything to do in your life in a way. And that's kind of fitting for now. And that's also why it juxtaposes I Never Got Off the Bus, because I Never Got Off the Bus kind of talks about what am I doing now, whereas Lotus Eaters is where you're sitting with a lot to not do.
Yeah, Lotus Eaters is when like you're in that kind of funk and it's like you can't see a way out, whereas like Never Got Off the Bus is like nearly clawing for that way out, looking for and working towards that kind of finding meaning,
trying to find a path through the storm, to use all these
like forging
words.
Your own path.
And very big like quick congrats, because the song just hit 500,000 plays on everyone's favorite Swedish platform, Spotify. So big fat
and
congrats.
Teberex, don't forget again to DM me to let me know how badly I've butchered the interpretation of that song.
I'm sure they will absolutely adore it. On to the last song. And this song definitely was one of the defining songs of summer 2019 for me, and for reasons that you would not expect. But this is Mad by Leisha. It is the title track of her EP. And it's just... It's a pop banger. You can tell that every song I've had, except for Where You Really From, which might not be strictly, it kind of still is, but I've just picked like pop bangers for all this. No, I absolutely loved Leisha's EP, and part of why I always associate it with summer 2019 is because I did a whole lot of night shifts cleaning up the pub, and I would have these headphones on while I was cleaning tables, and Mad was one of the songs that I listened to nearly every night. So I'd just be there like cleaning, like wiping down the table and looking at like the sticky drink stains and just wiping, and in my head I was going like, say you're sorry every time, and it made it easier to wipe down those tables, I'm not gonna lie. But it's such a good track off such a good EP, and she's an absolute bundle of energy live. I saw her at her headliner in Lost Lane, and that was, I think, a year and a half down the line after first hearing her. See, this like, I'd also nearly attribute her to like when I heard Last Night by Days, because I heard Last Night by Days, which means I got introduced to Jafaris and Soleil, and then I ended up at a small Soleil show that she was doing, and in the venue where they were doing it, they were only playing songs by Irish artists, so I took out my phone and I Shazammed a few that I loved, and one of them was Bother by Leisha. So in the very indirect way, it's a lot, it all stems back to that song. But the show was just so good, and I'd been waiting a long time to see her live, so I was so happy to see it. And she speaks Gaeilge, so that's also like a big way to win me over. I think anytime I talk to her, it's always in Irish. And when I first spoke to her in person, I was speaking in Irish, and it was quite loud in the room, so she didn't, I think she thought I was just a bit starstruck or a bit flustered, because she wasn't really able. I think she got this idea that I wasn't speaking cohesive sentences. She wasn't giving me proper answers or whatever. And as soon as she clicked that I was speaking Irish, everything was great from there.
She just needs to hop on that Duolingo, freshen up on the skills.
Oh sure, she grew up natively speaking it. She's in one of Colostal Lurgan's videos.
Oh, fair enough.
She's the one. She's the like lead vocalist from the Cup song.
I didn't watch that one.
And she was a Kinnera as well.
Oh, fair enough. I stand corrected.
That's okay. That's okay. But the Mad EP is brilliant. It also, like, I was close to also putting her song Seriously on the list as well, because if that was released as a single in April, May, it would have had a good summer run as well, because it's high energy. It was great in Lost Lane, but I just want to imagine it at a festival stage where everyone would be jumping and screaming that massive start of the chorus where she just says, I want you. It's just great. I don't know what else to say. I'm just like glowing things to say about Leisha. The Mad EP is out now on her website. You can get a cassette, and they're all signed, and it's really cute. I ordered one a year ago, and she included a little note in the delivery, which was lovely as well, and I still have that little note because it's so nice.
It's such a nice touch, yeah.
It's such a nice touch. She, I think, above just about anyone else that I've come across in the Irish industry, shows her appreciation and gives back as much as she can to the people who listen, and she really shows her appreciation, and it is always so lovely to get that back. Obviously you're not listening and paying attention and stuff to get recognition for it, but the fact that she gives that recognition is so lovely. She also has a Patreon page which she set up a few weeks ago, and from what she's put up so far, it's really good. She has unreleased demos there. She has like a PDF zine. She's done like behind the scenes videos, and it's only like €3 a month. She's been saying all of lockdown that she was going to start a Patreon, and I was thinking, cool, if this is a tenner a month, I'm fairly sure I could budget that in. But the fact that it's €3 a month, you'd get mad so much work. Pun intended, I guess. You'd be mad not to.
Not intended at all there. I was just trying to sound like one of those
no,
infomercials.
You would be mad not to, for only €3 a month. And it was so lovely as well. Another thing for like artist appreciation, when I signed up for it, she sent me a message straight away and didn't even have to ask. She sent the message Oscuelga.
Ah.
Yeah, so she shows appreciation. She remembers that you're the person who bought her EP or that she met at that meet and greet without you having to say anything.
So that's something that I love about the Irish scene at the moment, where they are doing well for themselves, and a lot of Irish artists have gained some international
Yeah.
acclaim, but the scene itself is still small enough that there's a sense of community within it, where you can actually like directly get messages and chat to a lot of these artists. Like, I know we both work in the radio industry, so it's a bit more
Yeah.
likely we'll get to know some of these artists, but just the fact that you can do that, get messages off them, like nearly like personalized to you with the whole in Irish thing, or like have them reply to your stories and stuff. Like, if I did that, I doubt Stormzy or Eminem or someone like that is ever going to reply to something like
Yeah, and it's so lovely.
So I think there is such a lovely community vibe to the Irish scene at the moment that I have a feeling where, like with anything, like if it blows up to a global stage, it will lose that once it gains that, like if it gains like a massive fandom across the world, because like it's not feasible to have that kind of community level yet. But I hope it maintains it for as long as possible.
Me too, because there are a lot of really nice people in the industry, and a lot of nice managers as well across the board. And yeah, people like Leisha are a really good example of it, as are like all the people on this list. Like, I know we can both say that about Tebby Rex. Can definitely say Local Boy is the best person on Twitter as well. Oh my god. He's
Yeah, he is gas.
honestly, when Erica Cody has been standing up for like racism and also like racism in the industry, not only like last year, but she's been doing it constantly ever since. A lot of people got quite racist on Twitter, and Local Boy was in there in the replies, like roasting them all to pieces, and it was so much fun.
He just did not care what any of them had to
He
say.
took them down with lines like, "You will never have swag." Who thinks of that?
Yeah.
Who thinks of that?
Like, it was such a childish response, but it was the fact that like he said it as just like they got owned.
Yeah. And I think, well, I chimed in on him once or twice, and then he,
Oh, you got abuse.
and then I got abuse. But like, to be honest,
Yeah.
it all rolled off. And then the thing is, if I sent a tweet about Local Boy based on that, people started replying to me, trying to say nasty things about him. So I then sent it to him, and he had fun with it then. So it's like a full circle thing, all this back and forth. It's just so much fun. But eventually I did have to stop because I was wasting too much time
Yeah.
talking to the racists.
I think that's a good message, because Twitter can be a very toxic place, and social media. So advice to, if you're listening, do not get involved in any of those kind of
Yeah.
they're not even debates. It's just people who aren't worth your time. Like,
I did realize that. I knew it before I even started doing it, but I realized it more after it, that they will always have a, but what about this? But this, but this,
exactly,
but this.
they're not worth talking to.
Yeah. So that was a few artists that we would love to see at festivals. Obviously, there are so many Irish artists that we would love to see, and so many more songs as well. And all of the songs that we discussed more in depth here, but also there will be loads more. There will be a Spotify playlist made of this, and the link is in the episode description, so you can go find it there and you can shuffle it, listen to it, give it love, clock up those streams for all our favourite Irish artists. Who are some of the other people that you would love to see at a festival?
Oh, without a doubt, Mango Matman.
Oh,
I had tickets to their February gig, and then my mate had a going away party because he was meant to be moving to Spain the same night, so I had to give my ticket away.
Yeah.
And oh my god, I was raging that I ended up having to
It
miss
looked
that
like a
gig.
movie.
It looked so good, and the album Casual Work, phenomenal, because the first song I heard from them was No Surrender FM, which Dylan Mangan introduced me to, and Dylan like worked for Mango, or was it Mathman?
Man.
I get confused still, I'm not gonna lie, between the two. But like, it was just in hearing like a song which is basically them doing a radio show, I thought was a gas concept. But then when they brought it in and it was proper, like as close as we're gonna get to grime but inner city Dublin, like
Yeah.
It's such a
It's
good
a good
sound.
like Irish take on
Yeah.
it. So they would be there. I'm trying to think who else. Obviously, Local Boy. I know we didn't get to drop any of his tracks. I'd also love to see like Hair Squad and Fortuniki Boy, and I'd love to see Kelly as well. That's some more pop coming out. I know that she's now signed as part of a band because she won X Factor just before Christmas, but she supported Tebby Rex. Sia Babes is also really good live. Nilo would be great for the Sunday.
Oh
I
yeah,
think.
he'd bang a festival. Actually, yeah, I saw him at Longitude last year. Longitude messed up with their time slots, and like there was a bit of issue with like his sound and stuff, but like once he started performing, like banged it. God knows
Yeah.
actually who he has music with would also be
God
great.
knows. God knows would be
And
great.
I don't know if you've heard of Jordan Adatunji.
I haven't, no.
The only song I know by him, he's a Belfast rapper, is called Questions, and it
Yeah.
gave me very similar vibes to Found My Feet by
Ooh.
Jafar's. It was a really, like, I found it on my daily mix or whatever, because Spotify made me an Irish artist
Yeah.
one, and it came up, and I was just immediately like, I need to know what this is like.
Yeah. So, well, while we're talking about Belfast, obviously Kneecap are fucking
Oh,
brilliant at a festival.
100%.
They killed it.
Gail
at Longitude.
Gigolos, Kiarta, like,
So many. Get your Brits out.
the pure reason I'm learning Irish is so I can bop to their music.
I'm so happy that that's why they've inspired so many people, that there's like a good contemporary reason for people to be learning more Irish, and especially on a podcast like this. There's also, I'm trying to think who else, there's also like
Yeah,
Sequence,
forget your swap pictures.
and Hair Squad, yeah, all that. There's so many great people.
Do we have to stick to hip hop? Because in terms of Irish artists, would love to see Key West.
That's an inside joke between me and Connor, that I'm not going to explain for the sake of diplomacy and my hopeful future
Oh, I didn't
media
even think
career.
of that. I just genuinely love their music.
Oh, okay. Well, now I've put myself in the shit.
I'm only just after clocking what you meant.
Okay, if anyone, I know that there is a certain amount of people who will know what I'm referring to.
None of them are listening.
I was about to say, if you are listening, hit me up. But yeah, that'd be good. I've also seen James Vincent McMorrow live at a festival in Spain, of all places, but he was whopper. God, I feel like I'm running out of names, but I feel like I'm not name dropping enough
Yeah,
people.
it's like I feel like I'm just forgetting every artist I've ever listened to.
Yeah, definitely. There's also
Rebel
Elm,
Phoenix.
Rebel Phoenix. There's also Elm.
Bully.
it's-
Or is it Yuli? How does
Yeah,
does it
Yuli.
pronounce it?
I think it's Yuli. I might be wrong.
ULY. Anyway.
ULY. That's a great one. But all these songs, all these artists will be in the playlist, so you can go give it a little, like a follow or a shuffle or whatever. You can enjoy all the. Connor's
Someone I
waving his
forgot.
hand.
Sorry, just because I saw them live at Cracking Up, and they also performed on Wavelength for DCFM, and Upbeat has some bangers.
Some nice bangers, definitely. Oh, and I think 220 is how you pronounce it. That's the guy who was his DJ, but he also has his own few tracks out, and he has one out recently as well. So that's two more artists to add
And
to
with
the list.
DJs, we never mentioned Red for Tebby Rex.
We never
their
mentioned
DJ.
Red either.
Tebby Dex.
Shout out to Harry. Yeah, we got so much
Yeah.
in this country to be listening to. I suppose that kind of wraps it all up. Thank you very much, Connor, for accepting this late night Zoom call.
Thank you very much for having me on. It was very nice having someone to kind of have a back and forth with, rather than me just try and make sense out of my jumbled up thoughts.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what the Sunday soundtrack is all about. And what more can we expect from you in the coming weeks?
What more can we say? That's an interesting question, because I've spent the last week asking myself that. I think I might try experimenting outside of hip hop, because that's what I wanted to do, but I feel like there might be a delay in episodes just because I don't think at the moment I could talk as in depth about that. I'm also trying to make sure I talk about newer music, because I have another show, to Hip Hop Stop, on DCFM, where I've gone through a lot of albums that I love already, and like would be older albums, like all Eminem
Yeah.
stuff. So it's like I want to keep it somewhat new and fresh, so that like it's stuff people are listening to at the moment. But yeah, I suppose the The world will know when I know, I suppose.
The world will know when you know. And if anyone has any suggestions, you can go follow the Sunday Soundtrack on Instagram and send a DM. Send a DM if you ever need anything outside the hip hop genre. I'll definitely send you something if you ever need it, or if you're ever stuck for content, I'll send an
Chromatica.
album your way. I've already had a Chromatica review on this. It was a long-winded review, but I enjoyed it very much, and we went through every single track, but I won't dwell on that. But do go play it if you do like Lady Gaga in any sense, or even if you're just an Arianator who wants to hear what we thought of Rain on Me. I'm going to stop with advertising my own shit because you're already on my shit. I'm going to stop doing that, but if you ever need anything, I am absolutely there. You can go listen to Sunday Soundtrack on, I suppose, all major...
Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you want to listen to it, and it'll be up on YouTube soon enough as well, anyway.
It'll be up on YouTube. Thanks, Connor.